All right, once again, it's time for Off the Top Sportscast. I'm John, and that is Roy, and we are here with another wonderful edition. Roy, what is our subject?
We're going to talk about pass and fail. Well, many teams have been on hiring alert in regards to some new hires out there and some fires. So the question are these new head coaches are going to be a pass or a fail? What do we think? And we'll look at them. So let's start off right off the bat with the Carolina Panthers. We know the Carolina Panthers has a new football team, really quarterback. You could say a new team because nobody knows the team. But Frank Wright was hired to come in and change things, help the quarterback get on his feet. I don't think Frank Wright got on his feet. And now they hired a new guy, David Canals. David Canals. Who is David Canals? Well, David Canals, when you look at experience, he's been in the NFL for quite a while. Came in with Pete Carroll, USC times. So he's been around. But when you say around, you kind of say around, not in it. What I mean by that, this is his first stint as an offense coordinator with Tampa Bay. He did real good. And it wasn't like he had a bad team.
No.
He had numerous good receivers. White is coming off a great year as a running back, a good defense that can kind of help keep the score low. So he didn't have to put up that much scoring. And still, they didn't look that great. They limped themselves into the playoffs.
2 years away from a Super Bowl.
Yeah. But he got himself into a head coaching job. So when you look at his resume, what do you think, John? What's your opinion?
It was an interesting hire. So the first thing we have to remember is that the general manager is also new. He also came from Tampa. It's almost, to me, it feels reactionary. Like I just hired a guy I knew. I knew I could work with him. They hired the guy from Tampa for general manager. He brought his guy with him. I didn't think they did a bad job at Tampa. He didn't do a bad job. He's not known, which doesn't really mean anything. Some of these guys, I didn't know who Sean McDermott was until he was the coach. It's an interesting hire. I thought what was more interesting is that they gave him a 6-year contract. They didn't have the last two quarterback coaches didn't make 2 years combined, and they gave this guy a 6-year contract. It was almost like they paid him for wasting his time. I have no idea how to feel about this. I feel kind of bad because I feel like Bryce Young is getting the short end of the stick. I think it'll be interesting who he chooses to be the offensive coordinator, or if he chooses to be the offensive coordinator himself. So I think that is more interesting to me than who the head coach is right now.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Okay, you did good with offense. So if you say he's going to head coach and do offense, well, maybe the kid gets a better chance. He does better this year. But if he says, well, I'm going to head coach and I'm a higher offense coordinator, you really hired him as an offense coordinator to be a head coach. So the question is, pass or fail?
I'm going to say a fail.
Ooh.
And I'm only saying fail because of all the options that were out there this year. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Who would you said would have been a better option?
To me, Byron Leftwich, an offensive guy who has had plenty of experience, who knows how to talk to a young quarterback. I'm shocked that Byron Leftwich is not more sought after.
I would agree a little bit. Given a shot, if all these guys are given a shot. So, okay, I give it to you.
How this guy leapfrog him, you know what I mean?
Maybe they could bring him in as an offense coordinator. Maybe these two guys can game plan together and make a good offensive team. But
If, to me, if I'm Byron Leftwich, I'm not accepting that position. I'm not going to go a place that I can. You're setting me up for failure.
I got you. I got you. So far, Carolina Panthers, thumbs down, failure. Let's move on. Next.
Yep.
Next team, pass or fail on the hire. We had Las Vegas Raiders had Josh McDaniels, which I thought this time was going to be Josh McDaniels, the perfect time for him.
Yeah.
And maybe he didn't get enough time personally, but I think he lost the team. That was the biggest issue. Not so much his record. And we know Antonio Pierce has come along and is that coaches, team coach type player and didn't do too bad. They played for him at towards the end of the season, last couple of games. He got some wins, and I think it was kind of a I'm rewarding you type of a hire. And maybe that's my best option. So with again, when you look at him and experiences too, where do you get the experience? No experience, coaching experience, but no head coaching experience. But is he a pass or a fail? Las Vegas Raiders.
To me, he's a pass. He's a guy you had to do. You had to take him. That team straight up quit on Josh McDaniels. The Belichick school of coaching has lost, right? That school is done. Josh McDaniels is a perfect example of that. I feel like they're a team who's very top heavy. Would you agree with that? They're top heavy?
Explain that. What do you mean, top heavy?
Like the number one receiver is really good.
Okay.
Everyone else after that is you're dropping.
Okay.
The running back is really good. Man, tight end.
The tight end is not too bad. That is not.
Tight end's not bad, but it's productivity wise. He has flashes, And I think we're a little skewed on tight ends right now because we think of Travis Kelce, of what the guy you need to have, and he's the outlier. Defensive end, you go, woof. But then defensive linebacker, even though I like Diablo Divine, I think he's great. He was hurt this year. He's my favorite name in the NFL right now. So they're top heavy on some things. They're not deep. They don't go, very deep, or if there's a sharp cutoff on that. I think it was a good hire. I think you had to hire him. You couldn't go through a second round firing the interim coach, which your team played well for. And Pierce almost got into the playoffs. And the last coach got into the playoffs. They lost in the first round. But when do you stop going for the names and start going for the quality of the person? And I think that's what they did this time.
Yeah, I agree. Again, he went from linebacker coach to head coach. Well, again, I'll repeat, linebacker coach to head coach. That's a big jump. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, this year coming, but it all depends on what they do with the free agencies. And really, again, you go back to one thing. I don't care what you have, Adams, Jacobs, which Jacobs is going to be a free agent on the market. The issue is who throws the ball, right?
Yeah.
So that's the bottom line. But I think it was a good hire. Thumbs up. Let's move on. All right. Next, the Los Angeles Chargers hire Jim Harbaugh. You say pass or fail? Do we have to go over his credentials? No, we don't. The man's a winner. The only thing I think a little skewed here, a little underhanded, maybe cheater. But hey, I say he's been a success. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's been a success in college coaching. Now just again, the guy can't walk around pounding his chest enough. And now goes into the Los Angeles Chargers, who, if you just look at quarterback, I think is a good serviceable quarterback. So the question is the Chargers good hire or bad hire when it comes to Jim Harbaugh? Harbaugh.
I think he's a great hire for anybody. I think to me, he was the highest graded coach to me that was available. I know he had some whatever transgressions, saying it lightly, in college, but college has a whole bunch of rules that don't apply to the NFL. I think Harbaugh, what he has is he knows A, how to utilize people, B, how to draft, and C, how to game plan. And all those things, because I think the Chargers have the tools, they have the personnel. They just need better planning and they need depth. All those things Harbaugh is really good at. We got to remember how Harbaugh was so good that when he left the 49ers, Hall of Fame guys like Smith retired instead of playing for somebody else. I pause for dramatic effect because that is so huge. Do you agree with me that a guy who makes you want to play for them that much?
I agree. I think you want respect. He got it. You want credentials, he got it. Do you want that he was a quarterback?
That's right.
He's a quarter. I would have liked them to really bring him to Chicago. Wouldn't that have been awesome if they brought him to Chicago? But anyway,
I thought so.
He was a quarterback. He knows. He's been in the big game. He's been in the big games. So again, I think there's nobody in the locker room that are gonna go, well, oh, look who we hired. No, they just go, wow, we got ourselves a quarterback. We got ourselves a chance. So I think that's the thing. That's the thing. What's interesting is I would have thought that he wouldn't have gone for an AFC. Wouldn't it have been cool if he went to an NFC?
Mm.
I would have liked that.
Yeah.
But if I was him, I would have been looking at NFC teams, right? Because Atlanta is open. Carolina, again, even though you're looking at different things, you know what I mean? But Seattle, that's a little team that intrigued me a little bit. Washington.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, I want the coach that says, I'm coming into Patrick Mahomes' division and I'm going to take it. That's the guy I want.
My brother's division. What are you talking about?
No.
I mean, brother is in the AFC, I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
So technically,
conference. That's the conference. But I'm saying, first of all, you got to get Patrick Mahomes. That's the guy I want that says, I'm not scared to go anywhere. He didn't go to Chicago to play against Jordan Love. Yeah, he didn't go over there. He said, I'm coming into the heart of it. You got to respect that because there are easier paths. Hey, when Tom Brady left New England, he didn't go to Denver. He went to Tampa. That's an easy division. He didn't go to, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's a big deal. And I want a coach that's coming to get it. And one thing I can tell you about Harbaugh, he's not scared of Pat. He's not scared of anybody. And anybody on that team, they should know that their job's not safe. Because whoever he thinks is best for the team will play, and everybody else better get out the way.
Well, also he's bringing over two coaches from Michigan, one of which is offense coordinator. So again, they're in a position to really.
No. The offensive coordinator stayed. He's the
Oh,
head
the
coach now.
defense. That's right. That's right. The offense stayed. He is the head coach. That's right. I remember that. That's right. So again, I think he's ready to go. All right, move on. Next, Atlanta Falcons. I'm a little disappointed in this hire,
Yeah.
but that's not for me to say. Is it a good or is it a bad hire? Positive or negative, pass or fail?
So they hired
Raheem Morris, who has been came over, was a defensive coordinator, been many places, has been a head coach, has been a stint with Tampa probably 3 times. For some crazy reason, I believe even the Jets at one time, could be wrong. What do you say?
this one perplexed me. I didn't understand this hire. I feel like it came out of nowhere with everybody who's out there. As a man, as a person, when I hear him speak, he's never done anything that I thought was egregious. He's been a stand-up dude. I like the way he talks. I like the way he moves. Just doesn't have the production. In my eyes, they should have just kept their head coach if they were going this way and gave him another year.
I
It
think so.
didn't like. I don't think this guy is adding anything to your team that you needed. You could have hired him as a coordinator. This is a null and void for me. I gotta see what happens. It's not a good hire, so I'm guessing it's a bad hire. I don't really have
Yeah,
much to say about it.
I'm with you too. I'm thinking it almost feels like a stopgap. I'm agreeing with you. Give the coach, who I thought, again, did he do great yet last year with Atlanta? No, but I think he would have been the same. I think we're gonna get the same. I don't see anything different.
My only thing with the coach is he handled situations horribly. He was a horrible manager. Forget coach. If he was in your job, you'd go, this guy sucks. Okay. Team meetings, every time he does a team meeting, he sucks at what he does. He's not a good speaker, not a good manager. I guess my question is, if you're going to take a swing, right? Swing big, baby. Like, I don't think Belichick was good for this job, but why not bring in Belichick if you're going to hire this guy? I don't know if Brian Leftwich, Ken Dorsey, there's so many coaches out there. I don't know if any of those guys could fix this job, but if I'm going to swing, I'm not going to swing for a guy that has lived in mediocrity. Why would I do that? I'm either swinging for somebody I don't know or somebody high up on the totem pole, hoping that he can bring me up. This guy, that was a weird choice to me.
Got it. Let's move on. Well, we know we still have
Mhm.
2 openings with Washington Commanders, Seattle, Washington. We'll talk about those. Because I don't know what in the world they're going to do right now, because it's becoming very slim pickings. But I think I do know what they're doing. But let's go on first. The Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans is a pass and fail with Brian Calhoun. Brian Calhoun. When you look at Brian Calhoun, what has he got under his belt? Well, it's kind of interesting. He's been around for a while. Denver, assistant coach, offense quality control coach, offense assistant, Detroit Lions quarterback coach, Oakland Raiders quarterback coach, Cincinnati Bengals. This is the biggest job he's had. Offense coordinator.
Well, what year was that?
No, he's been around, he's been with them since recent. So Calhoun has been with them since 19 to 2023. So he's got some pedigree in the offense coordinator. But again, now with the Tennessee Titans, is this what the Tennessee Titans need at this time?
No.
Pass or fail? You said no, fail.
Failed. This was a total miss. Every team he was with was not good until you got Joe Burrow, number one overall pick, T. Higgins, a number one wide receiver,
Which is free agent,
Jamar Chase, what's that?
which they may lose.
Jamar Chase, a number one wide receiver, yeah. Mixon, a top five running back. Cincinnati has not gone through what they need to go through to see how good those guys are. I don't know how good Joe Burrow is. I can't tell you how good Joe Burrow is when he's had three great wide receivers. So I don't know how good this guy is. This seems like a weird pick. This was a bad pick, but this might have been all they could kind of get because I don't think anybody was clamoring for that job.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think nobody's clamoring for that job, but I think they could have looked around and waited a little bit more because I think that if you go back to Seattle, which is in a better place, and Washington, which is really in a kind of a foggy place, to see of the four teams who's going to, who's going to get somebody, and I think that's what Washington and Seattle are doing. They're waiting possibly for offense coordinators to come up, defense coordinators. I think, Harbaugh, some of his staff could get pilfered. So I think they're waiting. I think the Tennessee Titans should have done the same. I think they jumped and didn't look. I also agree. I think it's a big fail.
My question is this guy better than Mike Vrabel? There's no way they can tell us that with a straight face.
Well, again, when you look at coaching, if you look at Mike again, Vrabel was a player for New England, right? That's where he cut his teeth. But do you consider him a good coach? I think Calhoun, even though I think he's been around a little bit longer, even on coaching.
I will say this. If you look at Vrabel's teams, I think he got way more out of them than he should have. Tennessee has not had a great wide receiver. Yeah, they had A.J. Brown. One year he was great. Every other year he was not. They did it. They looked at their team and they won with the team that they had. That's really impressive, man.
I agree with you because if you look at his lineage, okay,
Mm-hmm.
am I pronouncing it right? Vrabel?
Vrabel.
Oh, Vrabel. He was in Ohio State.
V.
Vrabel, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was in Ohio State, Houston, Texas linebacker coach, Houston, Texas defensive coach, and then went to Tennessee. So when you look at coaching, this Calhoun has many more opportunities that he had, and then with a winning team in the sense of the Bengals. So let's see if he does well. I don't think so. I think it was a bad hire. I think Tennessee should have waited. I think it was a fail.
So you're saying Calhoun has had many stops.
More stuff.
When Vrabel was at Tennessee or Houston, that defense was good. You said Calhoun was the Raiders, Detroit. I didn't hear you mention a good team until Cincinnati in 2019. So I get what you're saying, but when you go to places that are not good, their expectations are lower. When you go to a place that is not good, like Vrabel did with Houston, and you brought the expectations up, that means more. He went to Tennessee When he got to Tennessee, it was Mariota. He brought in Tannehill, waited, flipped Tannehill and Mariota, and made Tannehill into a Pro Bowl player.
True. True.
Made Derrick Henry the centerpiece of an offense, a running back that was going out of style. That's when Alvin Kamara was coming up. That's when Shady was in the league. That's when 49er McCaffrey was running strong. So a power running game, he made that the centerpiece of his offense, and he made it win the division. That's impressive, man. You got to give the guy his accolades, that he took what they gave him and he won with it.
All right. Let's see if he gets a look, because right now Rabel's not getting a look.
That is ridiculous. Harbaugh, to me, was number one prospect. Was he the same to you?
Number one. I don't even
Okay.
think, to put it this way, Belichick is not even on my list.
That's right. Who's number two prospect in your eyes that is available? What was available?
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of people I thought were still going to get fired. Really, that's hard to tell who's number two. I don't have
To
it.
me, was Vrabel.
Vrabel maybe number two. Yeah.
He's young.
Yeah.
He knows how to build a team. He knows how to use what you got.
I was looking at not a retread, somebody fresh. I think Pierce would have been my number two.
I'm not going to argue with that. I like Pierce. I've liked him as a player. He was underrated as a player. He was appreciated as a player, I think, in New York. So, but right now,
let's not go on too far. We are talking about right now, pass or fail. We said fail, right?
Yes.
We said fail for the Tennessee Titans. So let's go on to the next. Let's go on to the heir of New England, the prince, now king, Mayo. Again, when you look at his coaching career highlights, nothing. He has inside linebacker coach. That's what he was from 19 to 23. And now it would be, I get shocked when I hear stuff like that. Now he's a head coach.
I do not understand this. This is nonsensical. This tells me that New England is out of touch. Robert Kraft has lost it. His children should step in. When you have a coach who has a certain persona, and nobody can say that Bill Belichick doesn't have a persona, and he has raised many Bill Belichick disciples, and every one of them has failed in every single thing that they've tried to do. Charlie Weiss failed in Notre Dame. Josh McDaniels failed twice, came back. Bill O'Brien, who was the coach of Houston, was the closest to success because he did have a good run in Houston. Even though he ran away all his good players, they still won, for whatever that's worth. Bring him back, was the offensive coordinator this year, failed. Went back to college for Ohio State, now as the head coach. And you have the audacity to bring in Gerard Mayo. This is not about Gerard Mayo because I have absolutely no idea how he's going to be as a head coach. The point is, if you're going to let Bill Belichick, he is the best coach of all stinking time because in games that mattered, playoffs to Super Bowls, he won the most. You let him go. to bring in a guy who only learned from him, that is ridiculous. If I was a New England fan, I would be enraged and upset. And I hope that Gerard Mayo proves me all the way wrong. He does everything different.
So you have me confused. Is that a pass or fail?
Fail.
Oh, fail. Oh, I'm sorry. I was confused.
This is
yeah.
the quickest fail.
Now, see, would a perfect hire would have been Rabel there.
Yes.
That would have been like a touchdown because he's a New England player, past player who has some experience. That would have been a touchdown. I think that would have excited the fan base. And if Mayo, you want to hang around still, great. But that would have been the hire that would win. Ding. But New England missed the shot.
Because Rabel is a New England player, but he never coached like Belichick. So he took the good, but he did it his own way. And I have no idea. I'm not casting judgment on Mayo because nobody knows. So I don't know how he's going to do it. I'm simply saying on paper, it doesn't make sense.
I put it this way. If they would have done the Rabel coaching hire, I think they would have made New England a conversation and they would have made them respectable next year.
I have nothing to add. You hit it bam on the head.
And I think they got the number third pick of the draft. Third draft of the pick. That would have picked a quarterback. You know that. And again, I think that'd have been a good spot. John, pass or fail has been a success. I think we talked about the pass and fail. I think right now we need to see who passes and who fails. We're just ready for the season to start all over again. We just can't wait. So everyone,
unfortunately,
yeah, we got more games to play before we start all over again. But we got friends. If you agree or disagree, comment. If you have a better job, better prospect, comment. Subscribe. Help us to get live at 25. I think we're getting tired. We're going to start going lives as it is a trial in different areas. We may be trying that. But again, please subscribe. It does help us out. It does help us knowing. Again, when you look at our numbers, people are watching. People are watching. But as always, John, we say one thing when it comes to sports.
Talk to a stranger about sports today.
Thanks a lot, everybody. We appreciate your time.